In the thick of what is typically known as the more busy time of life, is life at home with lots of little kiddos. So trying to have the proper mindset around faith, family, being a husband, being a father, that's all the most important thing. While at the same time, want to make sure that I'm still working hard and providing and leading well on the work side of things. How do I balance between contentment with where I'm at versus complacency where I know I have more to give? It's always the knife's edge that I'm playing on, is just that content with what I have in business, content with the way that life is, content with things. But also I don't want to get trapped into, I'm actually being complacent. And I'm using that as an excuse to be lazy and not work hard.
Welcome to Transform with Jason Drees. Don't forget to join me every Monday at 10 a.m. Central for a free mindset alignment. Go to mondaymindsetreset.com. Don't start your week out of alignment. Join my free call. On today's episode, I got another amazing human being with me, fellow Go Abundance member, Taylor Doolittle here out of Minneapolis, at a suburb out of Minneapolis. Taylor is going to be 35 next month. He is happily married to his college sweetheart for 10 years, been together 15. He's got 2 daughters. He's doing some great things in real estate as well as real estate investing, and we're going to have a great conversation today. Taylor, welcome. Good to connect today.
Thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with me, Jason. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. So what should we talk about today? What do you want some coaching on? Let's dive in.
Well, I think something that is very top of mind right now, because I have so many people in my life texting me and calling me and saying, what do we do? Is this new National Association of Realtors lawsuit that's all over CNN and all the major networks about the shakeup in the residential real estate world. So I am a residential real estate agent, have been for the past 7 years, and lead a team of agents, about 15 agents with some additional support staff. So myself would love to kind of go into these headwinds with a good perspective, but also the proper perspective to help lead my team through. That's what I would chat about that.
Okay. I'm not a real estate agent, but I have seen the news. There are some interesting things going on in the world these days. So let's dive in. So what are your thoughts? Like, what's coming up? Like,
yeah, I think the big thing to know is nothing is set in stone. Nothing's actually been decided. There's just a lot of kind of rumors and assumptions of how this is all going to play out. So even though you might not be in residential real estate yourself, I'm sure that you've led a lot of people through times where there's headwinds, there's unknowns. There's lots of people asking questions, but there are no answers. And I got feedback from an agent on our team this week that, hey, myself and the other leaders on the team are attacking this with positivity, but the newer guys on the team might be taking that communication from us and saying, well, it's easy for you to say you're at this part of your business where I'm still at the beginning part of my business. So would love your insight on how to all of that. What are your thoughts?
Well, that's more of a mentoring question than a coaching question. So can you be more specific? Like, because you're saying there's communication between, like, are you looking for input on what I think about the situation or how I would talk to the staff or what I would say to the new people? Like, what are you asking me?
Well, I'm sure you've had many clients that say, hey, I'm facing this challenging time, and it's just a waiting game. We don't see how this is going to play out. How do you encourage your clients to have a mindset going into these turbulent, unknown times with an unknown time horizon for a resolution?
Okay. Well, it's generally easier for me to explain when it's more of a relevant thing. So I'll position it towards you. So real estate, that is an interesting turnaround time, right? There's a lot of interesting things happening in the world with politics and all this stuff lately, right? Like it's almost like we're at this place where nothing surprises us these days. And while this is an interesting thing, which sounds like it's complete nonsense because they're salespeople and they work their butts off for commissions, they deserve those. But at the end of the day, we don't know, right? There's some information about something coming in the future and we don't know what that is. We don't know. And it's very easy to react to the physical situation outside that you can feel like you're at the expense of it, like an economy, right? Oh, is it a downturn, right? But the thing is, there are people that do well when there's recessions, and there's people who don't do well when there are recessions. And the difference is the mindset they operate from. So each person is experiencing the reality that they are a frequency match to. The easiest way to describe their frequency is their mindset, the frame they're operating from, their belief structure, and their emotions they're experiencing on a day-to-day basis are the indicators of what that alignment or misalignment is. But at the end of the day, you're only going to experience that which you're in alignment with. So this is an opportunity for people to learn that you create your own reality regardless of what the market condition is or here or there. Because you can be successful in any market condition, and you got to be really careful when changes happen that you don't intentionally lower yourself, right? Like, for example, one of the examples I used to give quite a bit during the COVID nonsense was like, let's say you had a restaurant owner, California, he's doing great. He's making 40 grand a month. He's happy. He's crushing it. And then all of a sudden, California says you can't open your business anymore, right? Be very, very easy for that person to say, well, I made 40 grand a month. Now I make zero, right? So they therefore lower their frame, lower their expectation, and literally take themselves out of a financial frequency that's $40,000 a month, right? That person could have also said, well, I make $40,000 a month. That's just the financial frequency of life I live in. And if my primary channel is blocked, that means life is going to give me a new channel. I just need to stay open and keep looking, because that flow, if you try to block a dam, eventually it'll break through a creek, and eventually a river, it'll break through, because the money we make is based on our financial frequency, not what the real estate authority says interest rates are.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, since I've been in the residential real estate game, it's been nothing but kind of rising tides and riding the wave. And so this is the first time in the industry for, I know, a lot of people where there's turbulence. Obviously, there's been turbulence over the past 2 years because of interest rates, but that's not it was still business as normal, just a couple of objections because of affordability and financing. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. And I agree with you. I mean, it's the mindset that you bring into this will determine whether or not you are one of the ones that makes it to the other side of it. So
one last comment on that is that the top agents make money regardless of the industry conditions, right? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the mindset to copy. There's a mind, and the belief is really like, I'm successful, I make money. How? I work hard, I take action, I get leads, blah, 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 right? But it's the expectation is the biggest indicator of the frame. And that frame is what the law of attraction is talking to. So if your frame's in alignment with not being phased by rough market economy, then it won't be. Yeah. And you really kind of, and it's better if you want to use the language you use to describe it also makes a big difference in your frame.
Yeah.
So if other people are saying, oh, it's a rough market conditions, I'm just like, it's just a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Like, I don't do recessions, like baloney. Right.
Yeah. The only thing that I can affect is the action that I'm taking. You can't determine what the environment around is doing.
Yeah. But the beliefs about the situation create what you see. Yeah. Because your mindset is the invisible field you're playing the game on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess something else that's top of mind that I'd love to get your take on, like you said before, well, not sure if that's a question for a mentor or for a coach. Love to get your take on. I'm in the thick of what is typically known as the more busy time of life, is life at home with lots of little kiddos. So trying to have the proper mindset around, obviously, faith, family, being a husband, being a father, that's all the most important thing. While at the same time, want to make sure that I'm still working hard and providing and leading well on the work side of things. So any insight around mindset regarding people that are, and I guess no matter what phase of life you are with how old your kids are, you need to make sure your priorities are set in the right place. But what advice or thoughts do you have around that?
Well, what around that? Give me, like, I don't really do advice, right? Like, so you're saying that you're in a busy time of life.
Yep.
And your priorities are faith and family and being a husband.
Yep.
Being a dad.
Yep.
So and you're saying you're asking for advice. Like, why are you asking for advice?
How do I balance between contentment with where I'm at versus complacency where I know I have more to give? That's always the knife's edge that I'm playing on, is just that content with what I have in business, content with the way that life is, content with things, but also I don't want to get trapped into I'm actually being complacent and I'm using that as an excuse to be lazy and not work hard.
Okay. Well, then I would remove the option of being complacent and remove the option of not having a family life balance.
Yeah.
Like, because because that particular statement implied that it was possible to do that. The easiest way to not fall into those patterns is to shift into a frame where you don't allow that to happen. And I would challenge you a little bit because you're only 34, 35. And you said a lot of kids, and I've got twice as many as you, and I'm 50. So I'm like, you got more in you.
Yeah.
And my advice is to, as a mentor, is like, give it all you got, right? Because why not, right? You're taking the action and prioritizing what you're doing and family time is important. I'm not hearing that you're not doing a good job of this.
Yeah.
So how are you managing that right now?
I think I'm doing an okay job. I think really tactically it comes down to, and this is just something that I got to figure out. So I kind of know the answer on this one, is just maybe being more productive with the time that I decide to give myself to work, but not necessarily increasing the time in which I am working, but increasing the productivity within the hours that I have set aside for work, and just detailing my schedule, managing my schedule in a way where it prioritizes time for where my values are, where I want to place the most importance of my time.
So that's one way to do it, right? You can also evolve how you're doing it as well. Because it sounds to me like we're having this conversation today because your intuition's telling you there's a higher mode of operation, higher level of how you operate. There's a higher level of how you execute, and also a higher level of results you're getting. At the same time, you're not broke. You're successful. You've got financial stability, independence growing and climbing. You've also got a young family. You're trying to do it all. So it sounds like you're in a great spot and you're trying to be proactive. I may be wrong, but it seems like you're trying to be proactive on how you should be. So my general advice to clients in this situation is like, are you playing at the level you want to play at? Right. And I typically default to my full potential. Right. Now that doesn't mean next Tuesday I'm going to screw off and say I'm not working at all. Right. That doesn't mean I kill myself work. But for me, full potential is I don't back down from any opportunities, and I am always saying yes to everything that's going to grow me. That's my point of view. So I would encourage you to, like, what is that level you're playing at? Because if you can move into alignment with that frame, that I play at the level of I give it all I got, 100%. Does that mean I kill myself with hours? No. But I look for opportunities. My family's young. Now is the time to work. It is, right? 30s is the time to work. You can't have an agreement with your wife that says, I'm going to be doing some investment projects. It's going to take up a little bit more time. The best thing to do is to be in great communication with your wife. So if you have to put in more hours or something, but it's now is the time to really accelerate as well. So I would encourage you to decide what level you want to play at and play at that level. And there may be a phase where you work 20 hours a week because it's good. And then the next quarter, you're cranking a lot more.
I feel like every level, every stage of life that you get to, you feel like you're at capacity. And then you get to the next stage, whether it's the second kid or the third kid or the fourth kid or whatever. And then you realize, like, oh my goodness, I had so much free time before. This is what busyness feels like.
Oh yeah. Three is the game changer. Two, you still can do man to man, right? But then, you go back to zone. But 3 is the game changer. But let's also not put ourselves in self-judgment, right? You're leading a team. You're doing well in the market that's difficult. You're not complaining. You're not upset. You're not broke, right? So I'm assuming things are going well. So I would also advise you to, like, own that more, right? And I can sense your introspective nature, which is fantastic. This next one of the really easy and difficult ways to evolve when you've already reached a certain level of success, like yourself, is not more action and it's not better time management. It's literally more ownership of what you already are. It's that owning it. I do this because you're still relatively young in your career compared to me. I'm 15 years older than you, but it's really that I'm a badass. I do my stuff. I crush it here. I crush it here. I work when I need to. I'm not afraid of hard work. I love my family. I'm trying to be there as much as I can, and I'm never going to let it dip below this standard, but I'm going to keep playing the game like that. And I'm going to go create what happens, because that type of mindset is going to be more open to bigger opportunities coming in, as opposed to the mindset where you're trying to manage your work-life balance of like, well, I only work this many hours. Because I've seen a lot of guys from Go Abundance get to a level of success where they're hanging on the beach doing yoga all day, and now they can't do any deals. Nothing works because they've got them. They're starting to be resistant to what it works like, because they don't want to work more or they don't want to expand. So they end up resisting the process and stuff stops flowing in. So I'm trying to help you shortcut that based on the best I've ever seen, is like, be involved in playing the game, play full out, right? Play hard, work hard, right? Sometimes you work really hard. Sometimes you play really hard. And I would say figure out what that is for you and align with that.
Is it the taking ownership then allows me to take action at a higher level, or is it taking ownership allows me to more easily see potential opportunities pop up? Is it the chicken or the egg I'm trying to get at?
It's both of them. It's both of those. It's both of those, because the difference is, let me give you an example here. I'm going to show you my example of frame, but it's a combination of those. And your point of view that you're thinking from, here's my marker. The point of view you're thinking from is the point of view we all think from, is the strategy point of view. It's thinking of action. It's like, it's like really like, what's the mechanics of it? So I can sense a little of that in there. So this is my diagram right here. So we all know that at the end of the day, we've got to take an action to hit the target, right? Now, the actions that you take, come from your mind, right? So your mindset creates your actions, okay? The thing is, your mindset can create actions that work and it can create actions that don't work. If your mindset's in alignment with the target, it'll create an action that works. If your mindset's not in alignment with the target, it'll generate an action that doesn't work. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yep.
Now, we have one other level right here, which I call frame. Frame is the vibrational frequency of the consciousness that is you. Your body is made of atoms, just like mine. And while your brain and my brain will tell you that action creates reality, what actually happens is reality creates your action. So, for example, if you are in a happy frequency, happy frame, you'd have a happy frequency thought patterns, which is a happy mindset, and you'd have happy actions. If you're in a sad frequency, you have a sad mindset and sad actions. Right now, you have created success. At the same time, you're introspective and you're working on evolving yourself to the next level. And your intuition is pulling you to a greater level of success. It's really going after freedom. It's like, I can have more cash flow and I can have more free time. And you're trying to balance those two. That's my guess. Maybe wrong. So you're trying to look from the action level here. And what I'm sensing here in some of those questions I said about ownership was there, prior to the ownership, I'm guessing, I may be wrong, is that at your frame level, there's a little bit of uncertainty there in this next evolution, which is very normal for everybody. For example, like this next evolution for you in business, you may be 90% certain that you can do that anywhere. And it could be 80%. It could be 99%, right? But anything less than 100% is misalignment. So my suggestion is to create a frame of alignment with the target you want. So therefore the mindset to execute and the actions will show up, because I'm guessing that you're still thinking about like, well, how do I grow here? How do I tell the team this? How do I also manage the kid at home? I got time. It's like you're trying to come up with a strategy for all this stuff. But the strategy doesn't exist in the mindset you started this call in. So we need to shift to the mindset that creates that.
Just to clarify, you are correct. Your assumptions are correct.
I've been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
and everybody fits. Everybody who comes to here is out of alignment in one level or another.
Yeah.
But that's my intuitive read. I'm also empathic, so I can tell like those where your thinking is. So what we want to do, and this is literally, this next statement right here is like the foundation of everything I do. Like it's the one thing. So if you understand this one statement, you'll understand everything that I'm doing. So as entrepreneurs, we obsess over strategy, right? We're looking at strategies. We're listening to podcasts. We're talking to mentors. We're trying to find the best strategy, because we know at the end of the day, we got to take an action. So we're always trying to find the best action. But let's move to a new frame right now. Action and strategy is actually the byproduct of alignment, because you've had times in your life where you're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And all of a sudden one day you woke up, boom. And you're like, oh my God, I see it clear as day, right? That's a situation where you moved into alignment and the strategy was automatic. Boom, right? Where it's like 100% certain I know how to do it, right? That's flow. That's naturally inspired action. Then you have grinding over here, right? We've all done both. What I'm trying to teach you to do is how to get on this side more. And the way you get on this side more is to learn how to shift your frame. And the thing that then the statement is, trade your obsession for strategy for an obsession about the version of you that knows how. So instead of thinking, what's a strategy? What's a strategy? What's a strategy? You want to be thinking, who is the version of me that knows how to solve this? Because we're operating at a higher frequency of reality than we ever have been before. And we can literally shift frames. Like when I was coaching like 8 years ago, we couldn't shift frames. I had to go through and change all the beliefs in the old mindset to make it alignment one at a time. We don't have to do that now. Watch, I'm going to give you a statement, an alignment statement. So repeat this after me, okay? I take full ownership of my life and everything in it.
Take full ownership of my life and everything in it.
I am going to find a way.
I am going to find a way
to manage my time.
To manage my time.
So I have more free time.
So I have more free time.
And my businesses grow and I make more money.
And my business is growing and I make more money.
Because I'm not going to stop until I do.
Because I'm not going to stop until I do. I can say that resonates really well. Yeah, I feel like as business owners, you work really hard and then you get to a point and then you hit a glass ceiling. And then I feel like I am at a point right now where I'm at a glass ceiling. And exactly like you said, it's not what's the strategy to sell more homes or do more of this. It's more of moving into the mindset of, becoming that person that knows that. So what would you say are some good takeaways or action steps for someone to take as they're working on shifting into a new frame?
Well, the first thing is like you need to learn what alignment is. Learn what alignment is. The easiest way to tell if you're in alignment is how certain are you? 100% certain is 100% alignment. 99% is not. Right? So if you take if you take the average guy who's trying to hit a big target, he may be 80% certain he can hit it. That's the same thing as the address in your car and the GPS being 80% right. You could eventually get there, but it's going to take a long time, right? So number one, it's learning what alignment is. And learning that process of alignment. Now, I've given you a way to create alignment just by using non-specific certainty and a decision to not stopping. That statement works really well because you can easily control when you stop. So the key is to stay in alignment the key is to try to stay in alignment as much as you can. Now, if you're aiming at targets that you know how to do, known targets, that's a different story. But when we're going in the unknown, doing things we haven't done before, we want to stay aligned with the target the best we can. So you need to learn what alignment is, and then you alignment with success. Then you align with yourself. You align with doing big targets, and you align yourself with life. Like those are the areas where it typically comes up. Now you can learn that on your own. The easiest way to learn it is to hire a coach to teach it to you. That's the easiest way. And if I could tell you how to be in alignment for the next year, I would, but I don't know where you're going to be tomorrow or next week or next year. So I can only align you on this call.
Oh, that's good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's some good stuff to just kind of sit and crunch and think through.
No. Yeah. But notice we created certainty at the macro level.
Yeah.
We had certainty at the macro level while we had uncertainty at the action level. And that right there is like the foundation of everything we do. If you can do that, you can hit any target. What usually happens for most people is the uncertainty at the action level creeps into the frame level, and the frame level is actually what the law of attraction responds to. And the law of attraction, and it's not about meditating under a tree. The law of attraction actually activates thoughts too. When you align yourself with certain thoughts, you'll start generating it. Like when I wrote my book, Do the Impossible, I literally frame shifted when I was having trouble writing. I'd sit at my computer and there was nothing coming out of my head, and I frame shifted to the version of me that knows what to write, and literally flow just started.
Instead of start with why, it's start with frame.
Start with frame. Yeah. I never even ask why.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Thank you, Jason. That's super helpful.
You're welcome. Any other questions, or are you good?
No, I think that's great. I mean, you gave me some pretty good, heavy stuff to sit and think through. I think my action right now needs to be inaction so I can think.
There you go. All right, Taylor, it was great to connect with you today.
Thanks, Jason. You too.
Thanks for watching the show, Transform with Jason Drees. I will see you on next week's episode. To get your own experience of coaching, go to freeintrosession.com. I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.